HANYA. I think she might be just one of the best 4-stars in the game, if not the best 4-star in the game, maybe even beating out Tingyun in a lot of scenarios. I think they both have their own merits, but let's talk about HANYA today, right? So recently in the game, in the new event that they have, where you can level up your social standing, get followers, get viewers, and maybe just not get canceled on Twitter for it. But the very special thing we got with this event was a chance to actually play with HANYA, and normally when you're able to play with a character, aka like Loach, or really any character that hasn't been released in the game yet, they restrict you from actually seeing their abilities, but this wasn't the case for HANYA. In HANYA's case, they let us know what her ultimate cost was, what each and every single one of her abilities to do at max level 10, meaning all of the scalings for every single ability, and all of her bonus trace abilities as well. Now, while we don't know what her eidolons are yet, we're gonna completely exclude that out of the equation here, right? I still think she is probably one of the best 4-stars in the game, maybe one, maybe two. Like, I think she is up there. So let's go ahead and talk about her kit first, and then we'll talk about at the end of the video why I think she might be the best 4-star in the game. So I will be putting timestamps for each section in the video here. If you don't want to hear about one part, then feel free to skip through the video. And also, the gameplay will probably be looping quite a bit just because we don't have much gameplay over, so yeah, deal with it, I guess. I don't know. So let's hop into HANYA's skill first. So what her skill is going to be doing is targeting one enemy and putting burden on that enemy. Basically, what this burden is going to be doing is every time that an enemy is attacked twice, and this can be from anything from basic attack, skill, or ultimate, you'll be recovering 1 SP, and you can recover up to 2 SP with this skill. Now, the reason why this is so good is because it makes her almost all the time SP positive. We'll be talking more about this at the end of the video though, so we're just going to give a brief overview here. Now let's go ahead and talk about the ultimate, guys. That ultimate is going to be targeting one ally, giving them a speed buff equivalent to 20% of HANYA's max speed, and on top of this is going to be giving a 60% attack buff to one ally as well, and is going to be a 140 cost, meaning it is the highest cost ultimate in the game. So very hard to actually get this ultimate pulled off, but I think I have a solution for you, but we'll talk about all of these reasons at the end of the video, so just stick around for that. But overall, as far as the ultimate goes, I feel like a lot of people will think the ultimate's lackluster, but it's not. It's not lackluster at all. I think with the speed buff, just scaling off of her speed is an extra added bonus because a 60% attack buff is going to be absolutely huge. And that speed can also give you some other benefits as well. But like I said, at the end of the video, we'll talk about it more. Now, hopping into her talent. Her talent is going to be increasing the damage dealt to an enemy with burden on them. Meaning if you have an enemy with burden on them, they're going to be taking 30% increased damage. So overall, this is just really good because you're dealing 30% extra damage to them. This is going to be very comparable to a defense down debuff. While it's not as good as defense down or defense shred, this is going to be the second best option you can have for a character. And what's just below that is increasing the amount of damage that enemies take. Now let's go ahead and talk about her bonus abilities. That means all of the bonus trace abilities that you get with her kit, because they did show off all of these as well. And as you can see on screen here now, she'll be giving a 10% attack buff for every time you trigger her burden effect, meaning whoever gets that extra skill point will be getting a 10% attack buff. That's pretty fun. That's pretty dandy. I mean, it really depends on who procs that ability off, so you might have to time that if you want a specific attack buff on a certain person. I don't think that's the best one of her abilities. That's going to be reserved for the second bonus ability, and that's going to be if an enemy is killed on the third attack, you can automatically regain the extra SP remaining from her burden state. Meaning if you attack them twice, you get a skill point back, and if you kill them on that third attack, you automatically get refunded. So you don't have to go through the full 4-turn cycle. You can actually get it a turn early if you're able to kill that enemy, which is super good and can make her a lot more SP efficient and able to get her ult back up that much quicker. The final one is going to be whenever burden's triggered, you'll be regaining 2 SP. So that means whenever you get a skill point back and burden's triggered, you're getting 2 SP back, which means theoretically every skill use you should be getting 4 energy back, and that's going to be calculated in when we talk about why I think she's the best character in the game, which we're going to get into right now. So the reason number 1, guys, she is the only character in the game that can regenerate SP. And you might say, well, other characters can regenerate SP if they're just SP positive. And yes, while I agree with that take, this is very unique to her, right? Because if you're thinking about your rotations, you're probably going to be able to hit that enemy with burden multiple times, even maybe kill them, and you're going to be getting 2 SP back for every 1 skill she uses, meaning whenever she uses a skill, she's 1 SP positive, meaning you keep proccing this on the enemy and get infinite skill points back theoretically, if you're able to hit the enemies that many times, right? This is why this is really good and unique to her, right? You can keep using her skill, and what happens when you use your skill? You keep adding more energy at a faster rate because she's able to use her skill more often, which means she regenerates energy more often, meaning she's able to get her ult back. We're gonna get to her actual energy consumption here in a second, so just stick with me a little bit longer. And why this is also big is maybe you're not using Dragon Dane on the team, which I think she is built for Dragon Dane, but if you're not using them on a team, say you're using her on a team with like Zila and someone else, right? Two other like main slash sub DPS. This also allows them to use each one of their skills more often. It allows everyone on the team to be more skill point efficient because even when she uses her skill, it provides 1+ SP, and you can maybe even get silly goofy with it and get just 2 SP back if you're not too worried about needing to get that ult back up. Say you're saving the ult for whatever reason, then you could potentially leverage this to buff up with the rest of your team because she's able to regenerate 2 SP from her skill. Now, if you guys have stuck with me until this portion right here, the ultimate might seem sus. And we're going to get into the ultimate right now because I feel like that's one of the biggest points of contention for her kit because it only targets one ally, right? And while you might think it's sus, we actually do have another character in the game that does target only one character, and that's Ting Yun. How arguably, her ultimate is more efficient than Hanya's ultimate overall because it is giving energy back and it's also giving like a damage increase bonus as well. But the big thing about Hanya's ultimate and Hanya's kit as a whole is it still targets one enemy, right? But I think the speed it provides and also the big, huge attack bonus it provides will help you out a lot. And what I mean by this is, first of all, right, this speed. You don't necessarily need speed for the whole team. Say you're not running Austin on the team, right? You don't necessarily need speed on the whole team. She is built to make your DPS do as much damage as possible, as a support slash buffer should do. And what this will be allowing you to do is, since it targets one ally and you don't have to run like an Asta and it gives a huge attack buff, you could technically just build as much speed as possible into her. Say you get her to 140 speed, she'll be giving that ally a 28 speed bonus, meaning your ally only needs 107 speed to reach 135 speed if you're using the new planner set, and 106 speed if they're not, if they're using literally anything else just to hit the breakpoint speed, right? So while using this set, you could run them on attack boots now with her on the team. It stays up for 2 turns, meaning if you run her properly and get a 3-turn ult, you're only having 1 turn of speed downtime potentially, right? You could maybe even bring that down to 2. It just depends on how much she gets attacked. We'll talk about the ultimate cost right after this, but still on this topic, you can run attack boots and just make your DPSs a lot more powerful, right? You can technically run Jingli Yu on attack boots with her. You could run Danny on attack boots and still have him come back up and go 2 times a turn while regenerating skill points, while buffing him up more, while just making the team work and flow better more overall. I think she's going to be a really good option for free-to-play players for this aspect because they won't have to worry as much about skill point consumption with her being on the team. So I think she is a really good option for free-to-play players as well as late game, in-game players as well. Now, let's get into the ultimate cost. We already know that she could use a skill just about every turn. And with me doing some math on this, if you run her with an energy regen rope, if you run her with speed boots, and if you run her with meshing cogs, I think meshing cogs, or the other one, memories of the past, I don't know what the other one is, the one that gives break effect, if you run that one too, that will also work at S5. Anyways, if you run all of this together, this will actually allow her to get a 3-turn ult, and if she gets attacked on top of this, it could possibly bring that down to a 2-turn ult, because if you're running all this together, each time she goes, if she's super fast, she'll be going multiple times in a cycle, meaning every time she goes, every time she uses a skill, she'll be getting 50 energy back. Her ultimate cost is 140. You can use her ability 3 times, skill 3 times, and get her ultimate back with all of these things. If you get a hit a couple times, then that brings it down even more. But those attacks are pretty RNG, so there's a potential for a 2-turn ult, but the rest of the time it will be a 3-turn ult, meaning she can have a lot of uptime. And this is why I think she is one of the best characters in the game compared to Ting Yun, right? Ting Yun is providing that huge energy bonus, huge attack bonus, or huge damage increase bonus, while she just makes the team run a lot smoother, right? Ting Yun's really SP efficient. She's also really SP efficient. I just think with her, you'll be able to get your ultimate back up just really, really quick and just makes your team flow a lot better overall. So while I don't think she is better than Ting Yun in most situations, I think she could be better than Ting Yun in some situations. Even if you run her offset, if you want to run her on a separate team than Ting Yun, I think that will also work as well. And I also think that her best in slot as far as DPS goes is going to be Danny, because then you won't have to rely on Ting Yun on that team to get his ultimate back up, because he really relies on that to keep SP up. With her on the team, you don't have to worry about that. Anyways, gamers, this video has been going on for too long, and I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me what your thoughts are on HANYA down in the comments below. I would love to hear what you guys think. Anyways, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you made it to this point in the video, then you probably like what you saw. So yeah, I'm ending the video now. See you guys later. I don't like doing outros because I don't know how to do them very well, but bye guys, see you later.